All right, we gotta let it breathe while we get the Facebook rooms in here. We gotta make sure the Facebook people can join us. All right, there's one, there's two. Welcome into another episode of the Dove Valley Deep Divers. I am your host, Erick Trickel, and joining me tonight is Lance Sanderson. Lance, you haven't had a chance to talk about it yet. So, Broncos beat the Chiefs.
Hmm.
How you feeling?
Really, really, really damn good. Because you know what? It doesn't matter how you win games so long as you win games. And guess what? The Broncos just went out and they defeated the witch. They shut down Patrick Mahomes. They exorcised the demons of the blocked field goal from 35 yards away last year in Kansas City at Arrowhead. And they pulled off a great win. No matter how you
And
look at it, the defense was great. The offense, for the most part, was really good. Bo Nix, I believe, had his best game as a pro. To tell you the truth, the way that his consistency, his footwork was great. The taking advantage of shot plays when he had them, the accuracy, everything about this game against the Kansas City Chiefs proves to me that Bo Nix is the guy, and you should be excited about him moving forward.
and with the whole blocked field goal thing, exercise the demons by getting one of their own. It was an extra
Yeah.
point, but Frank
Yep.
Crum came through and got his hands on it. I mean, dude is like 7 foot tall. So it was nice to see that. And as for offensively, I don't think this was his best game as a pro. It was his best game against a good defense this season. I think he had a much better game against the Cowboys, but that was simply because the Cowboys were god awful.
Yeah.
So there is a lot that you can hang your hat up on Bo Nix going forward, and hopefully he continues to build off that. But I mean, this is something that Nick and I have talked about a lot. The team's winning. He's going to get the season barring injury. You're going to get him into next season, and basically the time frame, and essentially kind of started over with this game, whereas he was losing time because of how poorly he was playing. He kind of bounced back and set back up in a big way. Like you
Mhm.
talked about it, footwork was clean, wasn't perfect, but the biggest thing was the mentality was there. He wasn't, second guessing himself, wasn't second guessing his receivers. He was making quick reads, firing it in there, trusting his receivers to make a play in the ball, and doing all that without hitches in his step, hitches in his throws, double
Yep.
clutching, things like that. And that's great to see. So it builds off of it, and he kind of reset that patient meter, I guess would be the best way to put it. I know a lot of Mile High Huddle fans and viewers and stuff like that are, very much in the Bo Nix corner. And safe to say, I've been on the more skeptic side of him, but he's reset that patience meter because he showed that he can bounce back from those rough games instead of just letting it wear and tear wear away at him like we've seen with some other quarterbacks throughout the years with the Broncos. One bad game turns into two, turns into six, turns into nine, and suddenly Denver now needs a new quarterback. So Bo Nix had a really good game. It was great to see it, but we're not here to talk about that or anything. And I kind of skipped over it just to get into the conversation here a little bit. So we'll take a step back. Lance, how are you doing on this fine Friday night?
Doing good, man. It's been a rough week. I'll say that. There's personal issues going on. Don't want to get into that, but I'm great and gladful to be here talking about a 9-2 Broncos team. This is the first time since I started covering this team with you alongside you at Mile High Huddle since 2018. This is without question the best team that I think that I've seen since 2015. The defense is the best in the NFL. The pass rush is legendary. It's so much fun to be able to sit down and watch this team on a week to week basis. It's so much fun to be able to talk about it with you on a Friday night basis. I'm doing good. Just glad to be here with you. And yeah, I'm sad that we don't get to watch this team this week. I really am sad that we don't get to watch this team play this weekend on an 8-game winning streak. That sucks. I want to watch more Denver Broncos football.
What makes me sad more than anything, more than not watching this week, is that we then have to watch them next week. And before people get mad at me about this, it's a simple fact of Thanksgiving. Like, we get it. We have Thanksgiving. As much as I hate the holiday, my family still does stuff. It's the worst holiday there is.
Hey,
Second worst holiday there is. But
easy.
it's going from that, and then it just throws off my whole week. I would like the bye week next week, because then I don't have to do my pregame stuff. I can sit back and really relax. And having Thanksgiving, which I'm not doing any work on Thanksgiving, that just makes it one day less that I get to do all my other work on it.
Right.
So it makes me sad, not because we then have to watch them. It makes me sad because it condenses my work week, and makes me have to rush a little bit more, which can add just a little bit more stress on me. So I wish the bye week was next week, not this week. But I'll take it this week. I've gotten a lot of work in, so I'm excited to have done that. I've done a lot of great articles. Some of them we're going to be touching on tonight. Some of them have yet to be published. And so with that, I mean, we may as well get into it. Lance, 2 of the articles I did were ranking the Broncos drafted rookies. So
Okay.
all 7 of the draft picks. You guys can check that out. It's on milehill.com. And I'm really curious. I know brought this up in our group chat a little bit and talked about it. I'm really curious to hear your thoughts. But before we get to that, I do need to say hello to some people here in the chat. And we also have something else that we got to talk about before we get into all of this too.
Okay.
First things first, Michael Ronquillo came in before we were going live saying, "Good evening, Erick and Lance on Dove Valley Drivers. Go Bo Broncos." Yeah, and Ernie May saying, "Go Broncos country only. Go Bo Nix." Denver Luke with that awesome Machop in his profile picture saying, "Good evening, boys." We have Riley Bacon saying, "Hate us because they ain't us." Hashtag hate us because they ain't us. Gotta say that.
Thanks for being
David
a member
Youngkin
there.
asking if the offense looked better against the Chiefs. They definitely did, except for the run game. Denver's got to figure that out.
Yeah.
We'll talk more about that next week. But this week, with the bye week, we get to take a little bit step back. Pearl Heater coming in saying hi. Hello to you, Peter, or Pearl. And then we have Quentin coming in saying, "Hey, everybody." Martina coming in saying some of his fans might have doubted Bo, but I don't think for a minute the coach ever doubted Bo. That man is that Bo is the man to lead this team to championship. Not just the coach, but the team itself. Like, we've seen it before where, you get that teammates speak into it, but as the season goes on with the offense playing poorly, you start to hear the cracks forming of issues between the defense and the offense. Not this year. Everybody on defense, everybody on offense, they've stuck by Bo Nix, and as much as stupid as Adam Trotman's comments were, it just goes to show how much that this team has Bo Nix's back.
Well,
and we have Quentin Caldwell coming in saying, "Great to see Lance and Erick live. Lutz deserves the contract extension," which is going to take us right into the main piece of conversation. We got some news today. Wil Lutz, 3-year extension. Nick made a joke this morning about how Sean Payton and Wil Lutz are married, and then the extension comes out just a few years later. I am convinced at this point that when Wil Lutz retires, Sean Payton's going to retire and go and live out their lives together on a beach, because Sean Payton loves himself some Wil Lutz.
Well, I think it's actually Adam Troutman. When Adam Troutman finally retires, he's actually going to Sean Payton's going to retire, because whether it's Adam Troutman or Wil Lutz, Sean Payton's going to go live in holy matrimony with those guys for the rest of his eternity, because he trusts those guys more than pretty much anybody else in the NFL circuits. But this extension for Wil Lutz is really fun conversation, because I was looking at a conversation on Twitter talking about how many All Pros do you think the Broncos get this year? And I said, so Pat Surtain, Garrett Bowles, Quinn Miners, Marvin Mims, Talanoa Hufanga, Zach Allen, Nick Benito maybe, and Wil Lutz. But of all of those players that I just listed off, every single one of those players coming into today is extended through 2027. Wil Lutz was the only player that had an expiring contract. So to see him get a quality shout, what is he, 17 of 20 this season in terms of field goals, perfect 18 for 18 on extra points. But like he's doing a great job, and he deserves to have this contract extension. He's been clutch when you need him to be clutch. He has 4 game-winning kicks this season. He missed one against the Indianapolis Colts, which should have ended that game. But when you need the guy to stand up and go make a clutch, timely kick for you, he's always consistently been that player, not only for the Broncos, but for Sean Payton with New Orleans Saints. So I like it. I like the fact that they're going to keep a guy in here that's playing at a high level and keeping the core of this team around.
Yeah, I mean, it's great. He's definitely brought stability to the special teams unit,
Yep.
for at least in terms of field goal kicking and kickoffs as well, which is always nice to have. I mean, I don't what was it? I can't remember what year it was, but we had the split kicker duties, one there for kickoffs and long field goals and one for the
was
short
was
stuff, man.
was that a
I'm so glad we
McManus
don't have
year?
to do with that. Like that was absolute like terrible. Like I can't even actually really put it into words how bad it was. So I'm glad to see him stick around. I'm glad that the Denver got this extension done. One less thing off their plate. Now it's time for them to turn to John Franklin Myers and Malcolm Roach and get those deals done. And then from there, turn to Alex Singleton or Justin Strnad, one of the two, and let the other one walk. And I would prefer it to be Justin Strnad, but Alex Singleton, his play lately has bounced back, and they really love him in the locker room. They love him with the coaching staff. So they get, I mean, it's that's one of the reasons why I throw Alex Singleton out there. Well, he's a liability in coverage. It makes sense.
Well, so you mentioned John Franklin Myers. You mentioned Justin Strnad. I think that those two players need to be kept around for the long haul. And quite honestly, I'm prepared right now, and it's not my money to spend. George Payton, Greg Penner. It's not my money to spend here. You need to offer John Franklin Myers a 3-year contract for $14 million on an average per year basis. This dude is absolutely freaking phenomenal. He does such a great job dictating one-on-ones alongside Zach Allen. He's a great pass rusher. He's great against the run. Like, this dude needs to be a long haul member of this defense moving forward. And you have the opportunity to do that because Bo Nix is on the second year of his rookie contract.
Yeah.
You still have the third year and the fourth year and the fifth
And then
year
the
option.
5th-year option.
And the
And
fifth year
then the
option.
contract starts kicking in.
And then you can finally kick in. So even if you extend him in your third year, in the third year, so not this year, but next year, you extend Bo Nix.
After next year.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you have so much opportunity with the cost-controlled rookie contract and Bo Nix, and my belief in him as the future of this franchise in terms of being the starting quarterback. You have cost control.
Yeah.
The Russell Wilson contract's gone. You have $50 million in salary cap space next year and 60 the year after that. Like, there's plenty of room. Get Jonathan Franklin Myers extended as quickly as you possibly can, because that is a key cog in what makes this defense move and how good it has been, especially this season.
Yeah. So you may have misspoke there. They can't sign Nix to an extension until after the 2026 season.
Yeah,
it has to be after 3 years in the NFL.
Yep.
You said it during next season, so
Okay.
I just wanted to clarify there.
Yeah, my bad. Following next year.
Yeah, but it's still it's that point of after that season, you then have to make the decision about the 5th-year option. So you pick that up. You have those 2 years in place. Then you do the extension. That's perfect. That is perfect timing for a John Franklin Myers extension, where you can structure it as a 3 1-year options, because I don't think you do more than a 3-year deal, or 2 years and 1, which gives you time for Savion Jones, who can follow kind of a Nick Bonito path, really, if you think about it. With Nick Bonito, didn't see the field a whole lot as a rookie, started to be part of the rotation, got a bigger part of the rotation, and even starting job, and then starter, and look at where we're at. You can kind of follow that kind of trajectory with Savion Jones. You just got to have that guy in front of him, which is the biggest thing with re-signing both John Franklin Myers and Malcolm Roach. You don't have a guy on the roster to replace either of them at the moment. But we have Phil McLaughlin coming in saying, "Good evening, Lance and Eric. Did George get a new contract? No, probably look for that sometime after the season."
Yep.
His contract isn't up this January, but it's up January 2027. And typically general manager contracts get done in that final year. I would have liked to see it get done this offseason, just so you didn't have to worry about it this offseason, but they didn't. They're deciding to wait for it.
So are you looking for a 4-year extension on George Payton? Because I think that's probably what he's going to get.
I'd do a 4-year extension.
Yep.
And then Cody W saying, "Do we look at free agency for center, wide receiver, or running back?" No. Yes and no, I should say. I think wide receiver and running back, I wouldn't be surprised if they look at the draft and free agency for both, especially wide receiver, where I think wide receiver and tight end are going to be the 2 positions they're most aggressive in free agency, whether it be signing somebody who's a free agent or revisiting trade market, Jalen Waddle. Center, I think maybe a cheap veteran option to come in and compete with, and I talked about that this morning with Nick, to compete with Alex Forsyth and Joe Mikowski, who's on the practice squad, who I've been hearing a lot of hype around and possibly, competing for a center job next year. I don't think they'll go out there and spend, even though Sean Payton typically has throughout his career has had 4 expensive guys on the offensive line. I don't think he wants it to be the center, letting Luke Wattenberg go, giving Powers another year as that starting left guard, because outside of a post June 1st cut, you can't really move on from Ben Powers after the season. Same thing with Mike McGlinchey. So you give them that year, and then you look at the draft for a potential replacement for it, because I don't think Alex Baljeski's a replacement for it. I think he slid himself as that 6th offensive lineman backup quality during his time as a starter. And then running back, I would look at re-signing J.K. Dobbins or Tyler Algier, and then drafting another power back to go after that. With Tyler Algier for a second contract running back, he won't have a lot of mileage on it because he's been stuck behind Bijan Robinson.
Yeah. To me, I think that J.K. Dobbins, despite the injury, and it's super unfortunate that he had the Liz Frank injury, what he had shown was something that I was kind of talking about leading up to the season. Like, at the time of his injury, he was 4th in the NFL in rushing yards. He was well on his way to getting 1,200 rushing yards and 10 touchdowns. Like, if you get a starting quality running back season out of J.K. Dobbins, if he plays the entire season fully healthy, that's a guy you need to resign. He was well on his way to that. And then that, I'm not going to call it a hip drop tackle because it wasn't.
Yeah,
it was not. It was not a hip drop tackle. It was just it was a normal tackle. The guy got rolled up on, and his foot broke in the wrong way. It is what it is. But what he did throughout the course of the season, stabilizing the running game, being that solidifying factor to help keep the offense on schedule, is more than worth it to try to bring him back on. Let's call it a 1-year veteran minimum deal. Maybe you draft another guy, and unless RJ Harvey decides to finally show that he has the patience and vision combined with each other, because he's been not good. But with what J.K. Dobbins did this season, I think you have to bring a guy like that back. And because another factor here, he was such a great fit in this locker room. He's a great fit with the city. He's just an overall great fit in the offense. He's a great fit, period. Bring him back, veteran minimum deal, and let's see what goes next year. And again, maybe it's time to draft a running back higher than RJ Harvey.
I mean, 60th overall pick isn't too bad, and it's not that Denver didn't try. I mean, they tried to get into the top 10 for Ashton Genty. I wouldn't be surprised if they try again for Jeremiah Love. And then after him, I think that there's, from conversations I had, and I talked about that with Nick this morning, there's some guys in that 3rd and 4th round, but from what I've gathered, only running back I've watched so far is Jeremiah Love. I'm so far behind in my scouting stuff.
Yeah, you're good.
But the next running back right now, from conversations I've had, they're not even talking 2nd round, late 1st round. It is mid 3rd round.
Is it Jadarian Price? Is that Jadarian Price, the backup?
The other Notre Dame running back is the first one mentioned
as
a mid 3rd round pick at the moment, and that is largely due to what he also offers up as a returner. So that's great. And then Denver Luke coming in. Let's run a very early 2026 mock draft. I'll try to bully Nick into that on Monday. I'll see what I can do. I hear you. I'm ready for it. Even though I haven't done a whole lot, I've only watched like 15 players of the amount of tape that I normally watch on it. But hey, I can do a lot of work.
Erick, it's only November, dude. You still have plenty of time to get your deep dive in and go get your 1,100 players you typically watch every single year. So, something like that. I'm hoping to get 250 this year. So,
and then Mark Kennedy saying, "Good evening, Broncos country. Go Broncos." So, thank you, Mark. Thank you, Denver Luke. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Thank you for the super chat, Quentin and Cody. We appreciate that. So going back to this, ranking the Broncos draft, before I pull mine up, who is your number 1 rookie?
It's very clearly Jeremy Crawshaw. One, he has been a top 6 punter in the NFL in terms of average yards per punt. Outside of the Raiders game, he has been largely spectacular kicking the football. He's flipped field position consistently in every single game. He's been an absolute weapon, especially in Denver, where I believe in Denver in home games, he leads the NFL in yards per punt. Jeremy Crawshaw has, without question, been an absolute home run draft selection from this Broncos team. And I'm old enough to remember here when everyone said Jeremy Crawshaw should be called Jeremy Crawshank because of his performance in training camp. That was me, by the way, saying that exact same thing. Jeremy Crawshaw, without question, number one rookie draft pick for this Broncos team this last season.
You know, it also helps with the play time that he's gotten
Yeah.
with how many times he's had a punt because his offense. Jeremy Crawshaw, he's definitely number one. As you can see, this is my article pulled up.
So
I have number one.
Eric, can I step on your toes really fast?
No.
So I can't step on your toes because you're in Alaska and I'm in Wyoming. But
exactly
not to interrupt you. Going to the Denver Broncos lead the NFL in punts this season by a large margin, and they're 9-2. And Jeremy Crawshaw has been fantastic doing so.
What a wonderful ad to pop up on this. Anyways, who's your number two?
Number two to me, it has to be Pat Bryant. And it has really nothing to do with what he's brought as a receiver, even though he has been absolutely fantastic. I'm going to get into a couple more stats about him, but he's consistent as a route runner. He's consistently open. He's been tremendous as a run blocker and in screen game. And the Denver Broncos lead the NFL in screen passes this season. Pat Bryant being a lead blocker on the majority of those, he's been a very good player. He's been the most consistent offensive weapon that the Broncos have this season in terms of snap count per production.
Yeah, one of the things when I brought this up in the group chat, one of the things I said is I think there's tiers, and in another conversation I had as I think there's tiers, I think you have a clear number one and number two. I think it is Jeremy Crawshaw as number one, Pat Bryant number two. I can understand making an argument for Pat Bryant number one just because of how impactful his catches have been.
Yep.
He has 3 explosive plays on 15 catches. 14 of his catches have gone for a first down or a touchdown. And then add in what he's done as a blocker. I can understand that argument. Crawshaw, I think, just takes it with, how much he's had a punt and everything, just kind of taking it over there. Then after that, for number 3 and 4, there is a debate. And before I get into that, throwing Nick Kendall under the bus here, he had RJ Harvey at number 2, and I can't wrap my head around it. I asked him to explain it a little bit more, and he really didn't. He's a busy guy. I understand it. Definitely we'll revisit that conversation a little bit. But with number 3 and number 4, I think it's a conversation of RJ Harvey and Jahdae Barron. Who's your number 3?
So to me, it's Jahdae Barron, and especially over the last 3 weeks with his ability to play not only inside but also outside. They're lining him up as a Mike every now and again as a linebacker. He plays as an overhanging safety. He has been a tight end eraser. This dude has been absolutely fantastic covering tight ends. Going back to Dalton Schultz, where the Houston Texans, Schultz had that one big catch. Outside of that, against Jahdae Barron, 0 catches on 3 targets. Go to the Dallas Cowboys game. Jake Ferguson had, I think, 1 catch for 4 yards. No?
Jake Ferguson had no catches on 1 target.
Yeah, 0 catches on 1 target, and Jahdae Barron was the primary coverage cornerback on that. Yes, Travis Kelce had a good game against the Broncos this last week.
But did he? I'm going to interrupt you here because this is a big point that I made in the article. I went in and I looked at all those snaps that he's played against these tight ends. Now, let me pull it up here because I do talk about it. This is where it's it's worth noting. Over the last few weeks, he's faced Dalton Schultz, Jake Ferguson, Brock Bowers, and Travis Kelce. And all of them were limited with Jahdae Barron covering them. In those 4 matchups, Barron was only targeted 6 times as the primary cover guy on those, allowing 4 catches for 51 yards. 31 of them were to a miscommunication play where Barron was the primary cover on Bowers, but he was expecting safety help over the top, and then 3 first downs. He has limited some of the best tight ends in the NFL this year, and then Travis Kelce, who's used to be one of the best tight ends in the NFL.
Well, and Travis Kelce had 9 catches for 91 yards and a touchdown. And one of those catches went for 21 yards and a touchdown on a play that Talanoa Hufanga missed a tackle.
Yeah.
Jahdae Barron wasn't even on. Was he on the field? I don't even think he was on the field on that particular play. Regardless,
I don't remember.
I don't remember. Like, regardless, what Jahdae Barron has done as an eraser, literally a magic eraser. Call him Mr. Clean, because that's what he has been in coverage. This dude has been absolutely phenomenal. He's playing with great leverage. He's playing with great awareness. He's playing with great technique. He's doing everything that you wanted to have out of a player that you drafted 20th overall. Does he have the opportunity to go out and play on an every down basis? No. Not when you have Pat Surtain, Riley Moss, and Jaquan McMillan playing the majority of your snaps. And even with Pat Surtain, when Jahdae Barron goes out there and plays, he's a lockdown defender, and he erased Jake Ferguson and has an interception and should have had a pick 6 against the Kansas City Chiefs, if not for a terrible penalty against Riley Moss. This dude has been absolutely incredible. Stop hating on the guy. Seriously, it drives me nuts.
And then quickly going to it, I see some of the conversation in here. Is Hadley's Harvey not 4? Q Robinson's number 5. Is Harvey even 4? Harvey is.
Yeah.
And it comes down to simply to playing time. Like, that is something that you have to factor in. And it does stink to punish Q Robinson for being the 5th guy in what is a really deep edge room.
Mm-hmm.
And when he's gotten playing time, he's done really well. He had a great game against the Chiefs where he set up Jawan Taylor multiple times against the run.
Yes, he did.
Like, that was a very exciting game. But that also doesn't discredit the fact that Harvey has 6 touchdowns. He's been great as a receiver. The only reason why he's not higher for me is because how bad he's been as a runner. His 31.1% success rate is the 3rd worst in the NFL right now. He just can't get it done running the ball. And he was brought in to be an explosive player. He has 3 explosive plays in his belt, running or receiving. 3 explosives.
And so 2 of those explosive plays went for 40 and 50 yards respectively. That's 2 of his explosive plays are a 40-yard run, I believe that was against the Cowboys, and a 50-yard run against the Tennessee Titans in week 1. Yep. What other explosive plays does he have to his record? None. Like quite honestly. So if you take away those 2 explosive plays, his success rate drops down to like 24%.
Yeah, it's awful. I think it's like 26%, which is the worst in the NFL.
Yeah, it's been bad. RJ Harvey, for the explosiveness that he has and what he showed at UCF in college, has been completely disappointing at the NFL level. Like, there's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. But Eric, you and I have gone back and forth on this in the group chat. Is it more of a patience issue? Is it more of a vision issue, or is it more of a and you could say it's been both. What do you think is more of the issue? If you had to show the pie chart, vision, patience, inexperience, or physicality? Because there's a lack of physicality too.
Well, we still have a lot of conversation to get into, so I'm not going to get into that. What I will say is I have an article up that talks about this exact issue with RJ Harvey. You guys can check it out at milehighhuddle.com. Quickly, patience is the biggest issue. And against the Chiefs, when he started to show more patience in the second half, and patience isn't just, there's a lot that goes into it. Early in the game against the Chiefs and most of the season, he's been really quick to the line, not allowing blockers to develop, which leads to him running into the backs and getting slowed down. Except for those 2 big runs where the hole was open right away, where he just needed to hit it. He has to find that balance.
Mm-hmm.
And then the second half, he found more patience, but his vision fell off and he was leaving yards out there on the field. Fortunately, he was doing enough, but I was really worried late in that game when he was getting the carries on those short yardage situations and Denver was needing first downs to help put the game away. I was worried. Then you have Q Robinson, who would be higher if it wasn't for the play time issue. And then, of course, I think 6 and 7 is pretty easy. You have Savion Jones, who's at least on the 53-man roster, was active for a game, only played 6 snaps, didn't do anything on it. And then Caleb Lohner is 7. He's been on the practice squad, hasn't even been active for a game. That makes that pecking order pretty clear here.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then, real quick, before we get into this, because we're going to give out our awards. We're going to give out, MVP, Offensive Player of the Year, Defensive Player of the Year. for the Broncos through 11 games of the season. And then, of course, we'll do this again after the season's over and we can compare and see how things have changed. But before we get to that, 5 major free agent signings for the Broncos this season. I also went through and I ranked those. Going to pull the article up here. For the Broncos, who is of the 5 big free agents? One of them is no longer on the team, so Trent Sherfield's included on this, and there's a very specific reason. J.K. Dobbins, Talanoa Hufanga, Evan Ingram, Dre Greenlaw. Who's your number 1?
It's without question Talanoa Hufanga, who I think should be a first-team All-Pro. This dude is all over the field. He is. I'm going to get into this here in a minute. I'm just going to go quickly. Talanoa Hufanga is without question the number 1 free agent addition, and he is I've said it multiple times now, he's my most favorite player on this Broncos team in general. This dude is awesome.
Yeah, he not only is the number 1 free agent signing for the Broncos, he's the number 1 free agent signing in the NFL outside of quarterbacks, because quarterbacks, the Sam Darnold and
Sam
Daniel
Darnold,
Jones, like those guys, like that's Daniel Jones is 1, Sam Darnold's number 2.
Yep.
But so outside of quarterbacks, Talanoa Hufanga, he's been the best one for the Broncos in the NFL because of the simple fact that, and I've talked about this a lot, Talanoa Hufanga gave Vance Joseph another straw to stir the drink, and we're seeing that with Patrick Surtain out. Who's your number 2?
My number 2, and it's a large gap in between, is J.K. Dobbins. So when you leave the team, unfortunately, again with that Liz Frank issue, your fourth highest rushing yardage total in the NFL. And again, the consistency he brings, the vision he brought, and just keeping the offense on schedule, he's easily number 2 to me.
Yeah. Real quick, I want to grab this. I think I said your name incorrectly earlier. I apologize for that. I was just reading a little bit too fast. But Martin comes in saying RJ's role behind JK as a receiving back was a good one. It might be that this is what it will be going forward. He may not ever be a 3 down back. That said, we need him to be a 3 down guy this year. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for the rest of the season, he kind of does, unless the Broncos bring somebody in. And the issue with him as a receiving back is he doesn't offer anything as a blocker, so it's predictable what he's going to do out there. You either need him to develop the run as a runner or develop as a pass blocker so he can be a more versatile threat instead of just being a receiving back right now.
Yeah, and it's hard to tell right now. I don't know the full free agent running backs that are available, but Dameon Pierce was just waived by the Houston Texans. It's a body. It's a warm body, man. With NFL experience, you got to get somebody in here, man. You have
He's done nothing since his rookie year.
I know.
And ever since his rookie year, when he had like 900 yards rushing, the Texans have done everything they can to replace him.
Yeah.
That says you a lot about what they think about him. And they're not a team that's really had, such a great running game, even though they've had some good running backs. Health has been a major issue. He's still struggling to see the field. He's still a guy that they want to replace. That says a lot. Whenever I look at adding players, I always look at what the situation they're coming from. There is something there as to why the Texans want to move on. Who is your number 3? Michael Ronquillo coming in saying his number 3 is Dre Greenlaw, followed by Evan Ingram at number 4. Are you in agreement there?
No, I actually think that Evan Ingram is number 3. Because if nothing else, you have a reliable pass catching option, and he's been at least on the field. Dre Greenlaw has not. Evan Ingram has started every single game. He's provided at least some kind of stability for the most part within the passing game, and he offers you some explosive, dynamic playmaking ability with the ball in his hands. And you've seen that, whether it was the almost touchdown that he had against the Dallas Cowboys, where it was a shallow screen route to the right-hand side of the field, ducked it down and got, I think, down to like the 2-yard line. Go back to the preseason, the 58-yard catch and run that he caught from Jarrett Stidham. At least this guy's playing for you. It may not be the most effective, but at least he's on the field.
Yeah, Michael, I almost put Dre Greenlaw at number 3. It just came down to playtime. Dre Greenlaw's missed 7 games this season out of 11, and his playtime has been limited. He just hasn't been on the field enough to warrant it. But if I was going strictly over with what they did on the field, Greenlaw would be number 3. Because Greenlaw has been far more impactful when he's on the field for Ingram. He just hasn't been on the field that much. Evan Ingram is clearly Dre Greenlaw clearly at this point is pretty sure both of our number 4s, because if he's your number 5, Lance, I may have to fly to Wyoming and give you a wedgie.
So I had Trent Sherfield as number 4, mainly because of his, I don't want to call it impact on special teams, because it really wasn't that impactful, but at least he played. He played for the majority of the season.
He's not even with the team, Lance.
I know, Eric. I know. But at the same time, at least he got to play for the majority of the first 9 weeks of the season. Dre Greenlaw's played 3 games.
4 games.
Has it been 4? You're right. It has been 4. So I will gladly concede that Greenlaw's been 4. Trent Sherfield should be 5, and because he's not on the roster anymore. But at least Trent Sherfield played in every single game that he was on the roster. Now he got replaced by Lil Jordan Humphrey last week, so there's that. But every game that he was on the roster, at least he played. Dre Greenlaw hasn't.
Yeah, we really needed him for those 8 snaps against Houston as a part-time player, right? Like, no, man, I don't get. It would
have been great to have Dre Greenlaw on the field against Houston Texans. That's for sure.
This defense still controlled them.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Like, we didn't need him.
Go ahead.
We needed Trent Sherfield because special teams was awful, and while I don't think he was a big part of it, he wasn't, a fixer on it. And what he did on defense or on offense was nothing. He got replaced by week 3 as the primary blocker because he was doing that bad of a job. Yep. Well, there's a reason why he's waived. There's a reason why he was replaced by Lil Jordan Humphrey. Well, there is no argument, in my opinion, to have him over Dre Greenlaw, even with playing time, because Trent Sherfield has actually played less total snaps than Dre Greenlaw has on the season.
Yeah, and that's a fair point. And it also helps that you have a player I'm going to talk about here in a minute, Pat Bryant, who actually showed that he can be a quality point of attack run blocker, quality point of attack screen blocker, and also a reliable receiver when he gets targeted. Trent Sherfield didn't have a place on this roster, and it sucks. It sucks for him
because he's bad.
It sucks for him.
But the only reason why I included him on here is because I remember during the preseason, after one of those big catches that he had, people were talking about him as wide receiver 3 or 4 when he did this against like 4th or 5th string defensive backs. Preseason's a cautionary tale. Don't overreact to what they do late in the game when most of these guys aren't even with an NFL team anymore.
Yep.
What he does against them. Like, there was a lot of overreaction to that. And there were some people in the chat who were talking about him as wide receiver 2, just because of the experience that he had. So just don't overreact to that. But we're going to move on to this next part of this conversation. We're going to get into the other superlatives here. MVP, offensive player of the year, defensive player of the year, some other conversations. So first things first, we're going to start with the MVP. And I think that we both made it clear. We talked about him already. Are we in agreement? Talanoa Hufanga is the MVP for the Broncos so far this season?
No, actually, I think he's defensive player of the year.
Tell me why you're wrong.
Well, because I think that Zach Allen is the clear MVP of this Broncos team. First
Not even
and foremost,
best player on defense.
Huh?
Not even the best player on defense.
I might disagree with you. He might be the second best defensive player, but he's absolutely the MVP. You don't be a 3-tech or a 4-eye and lead the entire NFL in terms of interior defensive linemen and edge rushers in quarterback hits at 21. He leads all NFL interior defensive linemen in true pass rush sets in terms of pressures with 34, true pass set sacks with 8, and hurries in 14. This is according to PFF, which they don't do the half sack thing, which makes this number kind of weird. But he has 8 sacks per PFF, tied for 11th in the NFL. His 8.1 pressure percentage, the second amongst interior defensive linemen, with at least 170 pass rush snaps. That's over 65 players. And also what he does to change the rush dynamic to help Nick Bonito and Jonathan Cooper get one-on-one opportunities. Like, he's dominating stuff up front. And this goes into it. Nick Bonito, one-on-one opportunities, 18.1% pass rush win rate. Jonathan Cooper, 14.8% per Pro Football Focus. This dude is playing at an elite all-pro level. He's been, without question, the MVP of this defense.
That's a lot of raw stats there for a guy who's playing a lot of snaps.
And
his pressure percentage is 34th in the NFL.
Okay, and 34th in the NFL amongst all interior defensive linemen, or
it's against 99, which is still good, but it shows that those pressures are coming because he's getting a high snap count,
and he still continues to win at a high rate.
No, he doesn't. Quarterback pressures 10.3. 10.3%. That doesn't translate to a high win rate. This is NFL Stats Pro.
Okay, so you got different numbers than I did. I went to PFF, you went to NFL Pro.
Yeah, which is, in my opinion, a little bit more reliable. But
yeah,
that's beside the point. That's a whole conversation for this. Quick pressures under 3 seconds. He has 8, 24th, still good. Not MVP for defense. It's just Talanoa Hufanga. He's been, again, adding a piece who's a literal straw that can stir the drink, that has helped the Broncos be as aggressive as they are, and giving them that other piece with Patrick Surtain in the secondary, allowing them to be, Vance Joseph to be more versatile in it. That's all great. I think Zach Allen is a great player. Don't get me wrong. I think he's great. I think he's done a great job this year.
So
MVP of this defense? He's not even a straw that stirs the drink. He's not even a straw that stirs the drink on the defensive front.
So you don't even have him as defensive player of the year?
No, I do not.
So is that Benito?
It is Nick Benito.
Okay, so let me dive into Talanoa Hufanga, who I had as defensive player of the year. And again, guys, this is a personal preference. He's so incredibly fun to watch, guys. He's always in the right position. He's consistently around the football, especially against the run. So I dove into the numbers here. This is, again, according to Pro Football Focus. All my numbers not according to Pro Football Focus. There's 46 players at safety with 300 coverage snaps. He's second in coverage grade per Pro Football Focus at 81.1%. He's got the 6th lowest completion percentage allowed, 57.1, and he probably leads the NFL in dropped interceptions. Like, this dude's consistently around the football. And of safeties with at least 200 run defense snaps, he's got the 3rd highest run defense grade, 80.4, the most tackles of every safety with at least 200 run stop snaps, 29, second most stops, and the 4th highest stop percentage, and a forced fumble in week 1 that stopped a scoring drive from the Tennessee Titans. Like,
thank you for making it for Talanoa Hufanga for defensive MVP for the Broncos.
Like, he's been absolutely spectacular.
Exactly.
He's been so freaking fun to watch. I just think that what Zach Allen has done up front in terms of the double team rate, pass rush win rate, he has been one of the straws that stirs the drink to the best pass rush in the NFL. That dude has been spectacular.
He's been great. Spectacular, I think, is pushing it. Okay. And of course, this is our opinions, and it's banter back and forth and everything like that. I respect your wrong opinion, but it is what it is.
I'm glad that I asked you what we were going to argue about tonight.
Just so you know, in defensive tackle pass rush win rate from ESPN, he's not even in the top 20. John Frankenmeyer's is 20th.
Wow. Interesting.
Again, he's playing a lot of snaps, which is contributing to the raw data. But with Talanoa Hufanga being the defensive MVP, he would be in consideration for defensive player of the year or even MVP if even 3 or 4 of those dropped interceptions of the 9 or 10 that he has on the season, he caught.
Yep. Yeah.
Dropped interceptions are the only thing that's keeping him out of that conversation. And that fact is why he's easily the MVP. Now, as for my defensive player of the year being Nick Benito, he is doing more to be the straw that stirs the drink, to overuse that analogy, for this defensive front, because he is the reason why Vance Joseph is literally showing A-gap blitzes almost on such a high rate, because he knows that Nick Benito against most left tackles in the NFL is a major advantage for the Broncos with how quick he is and everything. And he is intentionally doing this to get those one-on-one matchups for Nick Benito. I did consider Zach Allen. I think it is close between the two. I just think Nick Benito is doing more. And even when he's not getting the stats, he has been far more impactful without the stats than Zach Allen has.
Well, so correct me if I'm wrong. Nick Benito has the fastest get off rate in the NFL and the second most quick pressures of any edge defender, if not any defensive lineman in the NFL this season. Like Cody W jumping in here with a $2 super chat. Thank you, Cody, for that. Benito for MVP on the team. I mean, you could argue for any one of these three players for being the MVP on this team. Like, quite honestly, you really could. Benito has been spectacular. That 4-week stretch where he went without a sack, notwithstanding, like, he has been tremendous. And like you said, Eric, the quick get off, the ability to beat left tackles or right tackles for that matter with speed to power. Like his speed to power conversion is incredible. But he wins with that quick first step, the ghost move that he has, the counter moves, the hand fighting. Like, this dude is playing at a level that $28 million is what the Broncos got him signed for. He could be a $35 million player in the next 2 years without question. And they got him on a deal this offseason. Yeah. Like, he's been playing incredible football.
Yeah. So on that note with Nick Benito, last thing here, he is tied for the league in quick pressures at 28. His quarterback pressure percentage, 21.1, the best out of all pass rushers, defensive line or edge.
Yep. Yeah. You want to talk about a miss
by 2%. By 2% over Will Anderson, who's the next highest.
You want to talk about a miss by both of us, because I called Nick Benito a 4th-round pick, and I think so did you. They're like, well, why are the Broncos taking Nick Benito at, 64th overall? And
he's a third. I believe he was a 3rd-round pick for me. It was a little bit early, and to be fair, my biggest notch on him was as a pass rush, as a run defender. But I did question how he would translate to the Broncos, to the NFL, where slanting defenses aren't so much a thing, which is all he did at Oklahoma. And he put the work in. He's definitely proved us wrong, because we've both questioned him. But he has probably, in terms of pure pass rush ability, he is definitely top 5 in the NFL.
Without question. I don't think it's Myles Garrett, TJ Watt, Will Anderson, probably Nick Benito. That would be 4.
Now we have about 10 minutes left to get through the rest of this.
Okay,
so we got a little bit quickly. Offensive player of the year.
Offensive player of the year to me is Garrett Bowles. And I know that it's not the most flashy thing here. But I gotta pound my chest once again, guys. He's a top 5 left tackle in this league, and he's not number 5. He's probably closer to 2. He's got the 2nd highest pass blocking grade per Pro Football Focus, 88.3 this season. 0 sacks allowed, 7 hurries is the least allowed, 11 total pressures allowed is 4th fewest. This is, again, with 300 pass blocking snaps. That's 47 total tackles, or 300 snaps total, 47 tackles. 78.8 run block grade is 9th highest, but he has the 2nd highest run block grade in zone running plays, and the 9th highest blocking grade in terms of running blocking against in gap plays. This dude has been spectacular, and he continues to be spectacular for the last 5 years. And I'm tired of everybody crapping on him. And I'm going to say it again. I'm going to pound my chest. Guy's an all-pro.
And one thing, Bowles is mine as well. And it came down to, there's no other option.
Really, no, there's not.
J.K. Dobbins, had he not gotten hurt, you can make that case for it. But with the injury, that left Garrett Bowles alone in that conversation. Now, coach of the year, I went basic here. It's Vance Joseph. There's a lot of position coaches that have done a great job on the defense side of the ball, but it is what Vance Joseph is doing as a play caller with his designs, with how versatile he's being with his calls, with the being one of the best at designing simulated pressures this year. He has by far the highest effective rate off of simulated pressures, which means that, he's getting a free rusher because the quarterback's not reading the blitz right. He's the only one that's over 40%. He's sitting at 52% rate on this pressure rate on simulated pressures or some crap like that. I can't remember what it was.
It's insane.
Vance Joseph is the only option for it. But with that said, if you want to go without the obvious answer and give somebody else a shout out, there are some position coaches on defense that definitely deserve a shout out. Jim Leonard being one of them, who is also the pass game coordinator, who has a lot of that coverage responsibility to allow Vance Joseph to focus on what's going on defensive front. Jim Leonard was actually a pretty close second option for me.
Yeah. So I went outside the box here because VJ is clearly the obvious choice here. Sean Payton would be the second one. To me, I went with
Not with the offense the way it is.
but still though, what he's done with his designs, the execution is so bad offensively that it doesn't really matter there. The designs and the sequencing is top notch. But to me, the coach of the year this year is Jamar Cain. He's the defensive line coach underneath Vance Joseph. The big thing here is the development we've seen out of Zach Allen over the last couple of years. John Franklin Myers being as good as he has been. Nick Benito growing as a run defender, though slightly, it's not great, but still really good. Jonathan Cooper and the growth that he's shown as a pass rusher, it's all been great. But he's also unlocked Ioma Razarike. He's unlocked Andre Tillman, who was a CFL player before, I believe, before he was signed last season to add depth to this unit. Q Robinson, even though he's been mostly a special teams player, he's been solid in his opportunities on defense. You've got the most sacks in the league by a far margin with a lot of technical wins up front, even more than schemed up pressures. You got the fourth highest pass rush win rate on this defensive line, the eighth highest run stop win rate, and the highest sack percentage. That goes a lot to what your defensive line coach is able to do. And that's really, if we want to go back to the straw that stirs the drink for this defense, that pass rush and this defensive line from 5 guys up front, and it's not just 5 guys, it's like 9 guys in the rotation. What they've done behind Jamar Cain and his ability to coach those guys up, he's been absolutely phenomenal, man.
Yeah. Now, 4 more awards we're going to be handing out, and we got to do so quickly because there's one last thing I want to get into after this.
Okay.
With it, most improved player on offense.
Most improved player on offense. Troy Franklin.
Troy Franklin.
I think that with the route running, the reliability he's shown, the big time catch percentage, he's
reliability.
Well, so reliability in terms of just being a consistent option for Bo to throw the football to. He hasn't caught the football, but just being reliable in terms of being open and being a guy that makes those catches when you need him to. He's been great.
Okay. Yeah, for me, he's the most improved player, partially because of that route running, but his understanding of coverages, the fact that he's been as good as he has, he's in the top 10 for receivers in success rate against zone coverage because he's really developed his ability to read the zone coverage, find the opening, and make himself an option for Bo Nix. So he's my most improved player for the offense. Who's your most improved player for the defense?
This one's hard. Actually, you know what? No, it's really not. Justin Cernat. I think Justin Cernat is the most improved player on this defense, and I'm going to bring you some stats. Obviously, he showed well enough in the last couple of years as a fill-in linebacker, but he's been great on special teams, showed great growth over the last couple of seasons. Probably should get another contract, but he's the 14th highest graded defensive grade amongst linebackers with at least 400 total snaps, 30th in run defense, 13th in pass defense, 6th most tackles, and tied for the most sacks of any linebacker in the NFL this year. This dude's been playing some really, really good football and is a key cog to what Vance Joseph is able to do without Alex Singleton and even without Drake Greenlaw to start, the first 4 games of this year. Justin Cernat deserves all of his flowers.
He's been great. He was one of the 2 guys I considered. I ultimately went with Jaquan McMillan because Denver drafted his replacement.
Yes, they did.
It sent a message, and he rose to the occasion. I mean, last year, he was a solid nickel, but there were some very major issues with him, especially on change of direction routes that he was getting bit, especially when the teams got him going to his left and having to reverse back to his right. That's where a lot of the big plays he allowed last year is. Shut it down this year. He hasn't been caught with that at all. So he's done a great job. I think he's really improved. And he took the message sent with Jahdae Barron being drafted 20th overall. He took it to heart and he put in the work to improve it.
I think the lack of athleticism with Jaquan McMillan has always been a big issue, but I think that he took another mental step forward because I've always maintained that playing slot cornerback is more difficult than playing outside cornerback because you have the 2-way goes. I athletically, sure. Mentally, absolutely. I think because the 2-way goes that you have, I'm going to stand on this hill for the rest of my life and I'll die on it if I have to. The 2-way
You'll die alone, man.
Then I'll die alone. I'll die a lonely son of a gun for sure. But I still think playing slot cornerback, especially in today's NFL level, when you have big slots where you have bigger wide receivers, tight ends that can play in there, you have to play with size, physicality, the knowledge of the game, understanding two-way goes, and still being able to be sticky in coverage. Jaquan McMillan, man, he took a step forward this year in a way that I did not think that he was going to be able to do it. I really, and kudos to the dude to playing as well as he has.
Now, staying on the similar kind of mindset over the course of the season and even going into next year, who's the player on defense first that you need to see more from?
This was the hard one for me because I couldn't come up with a player and bring you statistical analysis to it. Honestly, I think this is it DJ Jones. Like I think I need to see more pass rush versatility out of him. And it's never going to be a guy like that. Is it Brandon Jones, who's been fantastic? Is it Jaquan McMillan, who's been great? Is it Jahdae Barron, who's fielding tremendously? Is it Chris Abrams-Drain, who's been a great replacement player for Pat Surtain? I really could not find one. Yeah, go ahead.
Riley Moss.
Ah, man.
We need a no. He's been great. Don't get me wrong. He's done well in the cover. He's done well in coverage for the most part. But we need to see more from him to do that without being so obvious with the grabbing. Grabbing happens every single play. Don't get me wrong. Receiver, they will always grab. He doesn't hide it.
Yeah.
And he is not the smartest when it comes to some of these penalties. The penalty that you mentioned earlier that took away the pick six for Jahdae Barron, that was just pure stupidity on Riley Moss to wrap him up and stick with him. And it comes from a lack of confidence. So I want to see more from him. I think he's been good. I've defended him a lot on the season. That doesn't mean he isn't the guy that you need to see more from, because you need to see him do this stuff without the penalties dragging him down.
Well,
9 defensive pass interference penalties against him. He has 13 total penalties called against him.
Yeah, and that's the easy one to go and pick apart the tape, pick apart the technique. I think there's some letter of the law stuff, and teams are bringing that to the officials' attention, saying, "Hey, by the way, watch for this."
He's being obvious with it. Like, teams can bring it to the official, but it doesn't matter if you're not being obvious for it. The one defensive pass interference against the Chiefs, the first one, it is a plain view of one of the refs where he grabs on the jersey because he's getting beat.
Yeah.
But we got to get out of here soon. I want to get to the offense. Need to see more on offense. Who is it?
And this is not a shot to the player. It's more of a shot to the bow of Bo Nix. And I mean this in the nicest way possible. I need to see more Pat Bryant. I've been probably the most ardent Pat Bryant supporter of all of Mile High Huddle's hosts on all the shows. This dude does everything. He's consistently making the right plays. He's consistently getting wide open. He's consistently making big plays after the catch. Eric, you touched on it earlier. He has 15 catches this year. 14 went for either a first down or a touchdown. This dude is playing tremendous football. I want to see more out of him. I want to see more impact from him. And to be quite honest, it comes at the feet of Bo Nix. I've said this multiple different times. The inefficiencies and the execution comes out of this offense at the feet of Bo Nix. And that's the problem here. If Pat Bryant can be more involved in this offense, I think you can take another step forward, because he's the most reliable receiver in terms of catch to target rate, in terms of catch to first down rate, and catch to touchdown rate. This dude, all he does is move the chains. Target him more. Let's go.
So you took it literally, like, we need to just see more of him in the offense. What I was meaning by this is in terms of growth and getting, improvement out of them, not necessarily seeing them more. Who do we need more improvement from? I don't think there's any answer other than RJ Harvey. We're without J.K. Dobbins. We have no running game. We need RJ Harvey. We need him to step up. We need him to figure his crud out when it comes to running the ball. We need him to figure it out as a blocker so he can be more of a threat besides just a receiving back. That's all he is right now. He was brought in to be a game changer and be this impact player out of the backfield as a runner and a receiver. We're not getting that out of him, and we need him to be.
Well, so
In terms of who
I,
we need to see improvement out of the most, it's RJ Harvey. And the way you took it of who we need to see more of in terms of, opportunities and play, it's Pat Bryant. Like I have an article written on that this week as well about getting more targets to Pat Bryant in the passing game.
Can I go quickly into a player more specifically into what the design of the question was here? I think I need to see more Luke Wattenberg. And
he's done
also,
after this year, so I wasn't counting him.
Well, so the reason why is because according to Pro Football Focus, minimum 400 snaps. This is 400 total offensive snaps. 10th highest run blocking grade, 68.4. 11th highest pass blocking grade, 65.5. He moved from a replacement level player on the offensive line to at least a serviceable starter. And if he does want to continue to
good
be
luck starting
a
elsewhere because he's not coming back in Denver.
If you want to see him come back, if he wants to come back, that's a player you need to see more from. I definitely agree with you, dude. It is RJ Harvey. I went to my whole thought process behind that was to go and identify a player I want to see more from within the offense, not to crap on anybody else. Pat Bryant, man, I gotta see more Pat Bryant. Yeah. That guy's awesome.
No, unfortunately, we're not gonna have time to really get into it a whole lot. But this week there is a big game that with major playoff implications for the AFC and the Broncos specifically, and that is the Indianapolis Colts and the Kansas City Chiefs. You said it in the group chat. You want the Chiefs to win, right? Or to lose, I mean. The Chiefs to lose. You want Indianapolis to win because you can't root for the Chiefs.
So that's not what I said. What I said was I can never find myself to root for the Chiefs. I have never and would never root for the Chiefs, is what I said. Then I qualified it. Carl actually qualified it, and I liked it by saying that if there's any chance for to root for the Chiefs to help the Broncos advance their playoffs, the playoff standings, then I would absolutely do that. And if I did not like that, I meant to. I fully agree. You want the Chiefs to win this game. As much as it kills me, I'm not rooting for the Chiefs. You want the Chiefs to win this game. I'm not rooting for the Chiefs. I'm going to qualify it by that. I'm never rooting for the Chiefs to win. Do I want the Chiefs to win? No. Yes. Maybe. Something like that. I don't know. Honestly, I'm hoping that Hurricane Harvey reincarnates himself and blows Lucas Oil Stadium off the map. That's what I want because it kills the Chiefs and the Colts. That's what I want.
You said, and I quote, "Nah, blank that, go Colts." And I got the receipts, man. I got the receipts.
How about you read the next message? The next message.
Never have I ever, nor will I ever root for Kansas City or Las Vegas Raiders.
Okay.
That's it. I say... You said nothing else until you talked about Brandon Cooks.
Oh, okay. So I missed because Carl posted that there's only one way that I could root for the Chiefs, and it would be if it only improved the Broncos playoff stats. It's like 3 messages later. I meant to like that.
Carl, so I'm not going to get into it, not going to read it. He does say something along that lines, but not quite what you're saying. It was a little bit different than that.
Oh, come on. So you're gonna throw me under the bus and be, man.
Okay, there's only one scenario I would ever cheer for the Chiefs, and that would be the final week game in which them winning helps us get into the playoffs or win the division. We don't have to worry about that this year, though. And even then, I might throw up just thinking about it. That's him saying that, not rooting for the Chiefs. I bring all this up because I understand it absolutely stinks to root for the Chiefs. I hate it and all that. But a Chiefs win is better for the Broncos this year because of the playoff chances for it. If the Colts win, the Broncos' chances of even making the playoffs, and it deals with having to still play the Jaguars as well and having that loss to the Colts, their chances of making the playoffs drop from 98% to basically I think it's like 91%.
Yeah,
and their chance of winning and that's just making it in general, because they still have that game against the Chiefs, they still have the game against the Chargers, whereas a Chiefs win actually increases them to a greater than 99% chance to win it. Not quite 100% because there is still a possibility to lose it, but it actually helps their chances of making the playoffs, not winning the division. And if you want to cement it for winning the first seed overall, 31% with the Colts loss, 5% with the Colts win.
Yep. Like you
I hate it,
absolutely have
but we
you
need the Chiefs to
absolutely
win
have
this weekend.
yeah, you absolutely have to have the Chiefs to win this week. And that all depends on the Broncos handling their business. I mean, you've got a game against
Yeah,
the
that's the
Commanders.
whole factor, and
Yep.
with it is Denver still has to go out there and win, and that's why it's not 100% in there. Still very early, still 6 games left, but that is definitely part of it as well. Denver needs to handle their business, but it also helps when you get help, so that way it can give Denver a little bit of leeway because they do have some tough games coming up in it. But real quick, Cody W with a $5 super chat saying, if Franklin doesn't start becoming more sure-handed, Bryant takes number 2. Bryant has done almost everything right. Issue is Franklin still offers enough big play potential for it that you still gotta do that. And I think it's great on Bo Nix too, after the 2 drops in the first half by Franklin, that he turned back to Franklin, who made 2 critical catches late in the game to help the Broncos win the game.
Well,
you got to figure out the hands for it so he can be more consistent, more reliable. But it's one where you still got to use him. And Bryant, on with that said, on that note to what you're actually saying, Bryant taking number 2 wide receiver spot, he is still more on it. He's on his way of already doing that.
Well, and so I was so incredibly wrong. And Eric, I'm not sure if you were with me on it, but I said that Marvin Mims was going to be more of the Brandon Cooks role. Troy Franklin is without question taking over that role in the Sean Payton offense. Because actually, now I remember correctly, Eric, you're like, Marvin Mims is the gadget guy. Like he's the gadget guy.
We got to wrap it up. I just got the text message. So, all right, guys, before we get out of here, I do have some things here. We do have a time limit when we have to get out of here because of posting to Facebook. We can't broadcast and publish stuff on Facebook. And it's both of our fault. We went in to that. I knew I shouldn't have, but ended up going down to that rabbit hole of the Colts Chiefs game. Anyways, guys, we do have to wrap it up. Before we get out of here, though, you guys, thank you. Anybody who is a YouTube member, we appreciate you guys. We appreciate your support and all this stuff like that. We can help use your word of mouth to help highlight the member only content that we have, as well as a lot of stuff that's still coming down the road. You guys, if you want to, you can become a member at youtube.com/@MileHighHuddle. Super chats and YouTube, stars on Facebook, those are the way that help out the channel, and they go to us to help it keep the lights on. If you guys are unable to do so financially, which I totally understand, you guys can subscribe, like, and share. It takes us only a matter of seconds, which helps us with the algorithms, especially on Facebook and YouTube, that are ever changing and ever being frustrating. Another thing that also just takes a matter of time, you guys can go to Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to podcasts at and leave a 5-star review for a chance to win some gear, not swag. I hate saying swag every single month. You guys can also follow us on Instagram at Mile High Huddle with an underscore between Mile and High and Huddle. You can also go to, with it being the holiday season, if you guys have friends or family who are also fans of Mile High Huddle, well, mhhmerch.com to get your gear on, not swag. Again, hate saying swag, where you guys can get hats like the ones we have on, other hats, shirts, and those can make wonderful gifts. You guys can follow us on Facebook, facebook.com/@MileHighHuddle, facebook.com/@MileHighHuddle, where you guys can get access to all of our written content, as well as be part of the wonderful Facebook community that we built up over the last 12 years, I think is what it is. You guys can also follow us on Twitter or X, whatever it is you want to call it, @MileHighHuddle, @DVDD_pod, and @Erick Trickel for myself, and @LanceS_MHH for Lance. But that's going to have to do it for us. As I said, I got a text message telling us to get out of here. So, Lance, before we do, quickly, any last words?
No, thank you all for joining us. We appreciate you guys for being here on a wonderful Friday evening. You all stay safe and take care. Have a great rest of your evening, a great rest of your weekend. And as always, go Broncos. We'll see you guys next week.
Thank you for everybody who came in on Super Chat and stars on Facebook. If you guys did that, unfortunately, we do not have those highlighted, so I can't pull them up. But for those of you who came over on YouTube, Quentin Caldwell, we appreciate you. And Cody W, we appreciate you all 3 times. 3 times as much appreciation for you. Thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Stay safe. Don't drink and drive. And as always, make sure you guys choose kindness and compassion to steal that from my good friend, Nick Kendall. I will see you guys on Monday morning, bright and early, 4:30 in the morning for myself to be exact, as Nick and I have a earlier time. And I've been up since 4:00 this morning because of the earlier time and moving it to Monday, Fridays for the morning show. But thank you guys again for joining in. We hope you guys have a wonderful Friday night. Again, stay safe. Don't drink and drive. Choose kindness, compassion. And as always, go Broncos.